Good morning, students. This is Gangadhar, your mathematics teacher. See, in last class, we discussed a few things about the arithmetic mean, geometric mean, and harmonic mean, as well as the insertion of certain arithmetic means between the two given numbers a and b, insertion of geometric means, and insertion of harmonic means between the given numbers, right? And now I have two problems on the board related to the insertion of geometric means as well as the insertion of arithmetic means, right? See, the second problem is simple, and the first problem is a question asked by one of you, right? I received it from one of you and I am going to discuss it right now on this board, right? See, let us go about the problems. See, first of all, look at the second problem. The second problem is mentioning us to insert. What we need to do? We need to insert two geometric means between 6 and 384. So have a look at this. We need to insert two geometric means between 6 and 384. That means we need to find out two numbers, right? Two numbers, and we call them as geometric means. Since they are the geometric means between these two, all together will form a geometric progression. So we need to find two geometric means. So initially let those two geometric means as x1 and x2. As per the yesterday's discussion, if two geometric means are x1 and x2 which are inserted between 6 and 384, then what we have in our hands is that 6, x1, x2, 384, all these four numbers will form a geometric progression. Is it right? 6, x1, x2 and 384 are forming a geometric progression, and our task is to find this x1 and x2. Now if you look at this, these four terms forms a geometric sequence. Among those, this 6 is the first term of the geometric sequence, x1 is the second term of the geometric sequence, x2 is the third term of the geometric sequence, and this 384 is the fourth term of the geometric sequence. So at the end, what we have in our hands is that fourth term of the geometric sequence is 384. And we know that the fourth term of a geometric sequence is AR cube is equals to 384. AR cube is 384. And now what is A? A is the first term, which is 6 here. You need to replace A with 6. Then what will happen? 6 times the R cube is equals to 384. We need to cancel out. See, 6 is 36. Still you left with 2 and 4, 24. So this is 64. Since R cube is 64, your value of R is 4. See, the common ratio of the given geometric progression is 4. If we have the common ratio for a geometric sequence, we will generate every term by multiplying with that common ratio to the previous term. Since 6, x1, x2 and 384 forms a geometric progression with the common ratio 4, you need to multiply 6 with 4 to get the second term x1, and this x1 with 4 to get the third term x2. Like that we need to continue. So if you move on like this, see, first number is 6. If you multiply with 4, it becomes like 24, and again if you multiply with 4, it becomes like 96, and again if you multiply with 4, how it becomes? See, so it may be 384, I think so. Is it right? Still we are multiplying with 4, right? 3 nines is what? We are multiplying with 4. 4 nines is 36 and 24, 384. And at the end, all together are forming a geometric progression, and we call this 24, 96 as geometric means between 6 and 384. Right? In the last session, we discussed a problem related to the arithmetic means, and this is a problem related to the geometric means here. Just have a look at this. Once again, I am going to explain for you. We need to insert two geometric means between 6 and 384. As a part of that insertion, initially you need to let those two geometric means as x1 and x2. Since the geometric means are x1 and x2, all together this 6, x1, x2 and 384 all together will form a geometric progression, right? Since they are forming a geometric progression, there are 4 terms in the geometric progression. This 384 is the 4th term. So we have that T4 is 384, A R cube is 384, and A the first term is 6 r cube is 384, and at the end you have that R value as 4. Since the common ratio is 4, now we have a chance to generate different terms of the geometric progression by multiplying the previous term with this common ratio. Since we know the first term as 6, multiply with 4 to get the second one. Again multiply with 4, again multiply with 4. Like that we are able to generate different terms of the geometric sequence. Since we need only 2 in between 6 and 384, those two are just 24 and 36. There ends our task. Have a look at this. Go with the screenshot. And then I am going to discuss the first problem. Look at the problem. First, go through this problem, and if it is okay, then start and try the first one, right? The first problem is again about the arithmetic means. I think that, see, this geometric means problem is a simple one. It is clear for everybody. So I am going for the first problem. Okay? Just have a look at the first problem. The first problem is giving an idea about the insertion of arithmetic means, right? See, the question is suggesting us to insert m arithmetic means. Just have a look at the thing. M arithmetic means. We need to insert m arithmetic means between 1 and 31. And see, among all those arithmetic means, you need to find out the 7th arithmetic mean as well as the m minus 1th arithmetic mean. All these arithmetic, see, the ratio between these two arithmetic means is given as 5:9. Then they ask us to find the value of m at the end. The problem is very clear, and we have a clear procedure also to solve. Now if you try to solve the problem, see, you need to insert initially m arithmetic means between 1 and 31. This is the first task. See, we don't know about those m arithmetic means. Since you don't know those m arithmetic means, what you say? You will say those arithmetic means are like x1, x2, x3 and so on, xm minus 1 and so on, xm. See, you just let those m arithmetic means as like this, x1, x2 and so on up to xm. See, now if you look at this 1 and 31 along with this arithmetic means all together will form an arithmetic progression. So therefore what we have, 1 comma, x1 comma, x2 comma and so on, xm minus 1 comma, xm comma 31 are in arithmetic progression. Very clear, the basic definition of the arithmetic means. Since all together is forming an arithmetic mean, see, arithmetic progression, have a look at this. Again I am repeating for you. This 1 is the first term, x1 is the second term, x2 is the third term of the arithmetic progression, xm minus 1 is the mth term, xm is the m plus 1th term, and this 31 is the m plus 2th term. See, there are m arithmetic means. Along with this m arithmetic means, we have two more terms. First one and the last one, like 1 and 31. Altogether, there are m plus 2 terms in this arithmetic progression. So, you need to treat this 31 as m plus 2 term. So, t m plus 2 is 31. Then, what we have in our hands? See, what you say about the nth term of the arithmetic progression. We know that the nth term is given by the rule that a plus n minus 1 into d is the nth term, right? So, since it is the nth term, here we need to equalize this m plus 2th term to 31. Then how it becomes? M plus 2th term means a plus m plus 2 minus 1 into d. A is what here? 1. 1 plus m plus 2 minus 1 is nothing but m plus 1 into d is equals to 31. And if you simplify, your value of d is 30 divided by m plus 1. Right? See, the problem is somewhat calculative, I think so. You need to simplify for the value of m. See, by the basic definition of the arithmetic means, at the end I have the common difference as 30 by m plus 1. Now what we need to find? Just have a look at this. The ratio between 7th and m minus 1th means is 5:9. Okay. What you say about this 7th mean? Okay. Pay attention here. 7th arithmetic mean is x7 divided by m minus 1th arithmetic mean is xm minus 1, and it is given by 5/9. As per the problem, 7th arithmetic mean to the m minus 1th arithmetic mean is 5/9. So x7 by xm minus 1 is 5/9. And in the next step, that x7 is nothing but T8. What you say? 8th term of the arithmetic progression. First arithmetic mean is second term of the progression. Second arithmetic mean is third term of the progression. Seventh arithmetic mean is 8th term of the progression. And m minus 1th arithmetic mean is nth term of the progression. That is equals to 5 by 9. And you just go with the usual cross multiplication. 9 times of T8. What you say about T8? Seventh term is a plus 8 minus 1d. Nothing but 1 plus 7d is equals to 5 times d. 1 plus m minus 1 into d. That's what you need to simplify. So if you try for a simplification, 9 and this is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4 is equals to, if you pick out d as a common task, here you have that 5m. Have a look at this. Okay. 5m minus 5, and you need to send this 9 7 63 also that side. It becomes like minus 63. And from there again you have that d. D is equals to 4 divided by 5m minus 68. Is it right? And at the end I have two values for d. Here the common difference is 30 by m plus 1. And from there I have d is equals to 4 by 5m minus 68. Both represents the common difference of the given arithmetic progression. You just equalize these two to get the value of m. Is it right? Once again I am repeating you for you. This is somewhat a calculative problem based on the concept of arithmetic means. The question is suggesting us to insert m arithmetic means between 1 and 31. Since there are these m arithmetic means, so all together m plus 2 terms will form an arithmetic progression. Since this 31 is the m plus 2th term, by the general term of the arithmetic progression, the common difference is mentioned as 30 by m plus 1. And then, as given, 7th arithmetic mean to the m minus 1 arithmetic mean is 5 by 9. Pay attention here, I am writing here x as well as here t. This x represents the arithmetic mean, whereas this t represents the actual term of the progression. This T8 is given by 1 plus 7d. Tm is given by 1 plus m minus 1d. And on cross multiplication of this, 9 ones and 5 ones, 9 minus 5 is 4. Here 9 sevens is 63d, whereas here 5m minus 5d. Right? See, if you send everything that side, 5m minus 5 minus 63d, and the d is 4 by 5m minus 68. Still you have some calculation now. You just equalize both these to get the value of m. Have a look at this. Go with the screenshot and try for the value of m again. Yeah, what I am going to discuss you is, I have only two numbers. For any two numbers, a comma b. For any two numbers a comma b, what you say about the arithmetic mean, geometric mean and harmonic mean? What is my question is, see, for only two numbers, single arithmetic mean between a and b. Look at this. Single arithmetic mean between a and b means you need to insert only one arithmetic mean between a and b. Since we are inserting only one arithmetic mean, see, a is one number, b is one number, and that arithmetic mean which we are inserting between them is x. So then a, x and b are forming an arithmetic progression. Since a, x and b are forming an arithmetic progression, we know that in yesterday's class we discussed it that the middle one x can be written as a plus b by 2. Is it right? So if there is only one arithmetic mean between a and b, and that arithmetic mean is generally given by a plus b by 2. In the same manner, if we are inserting single geometric mean between a and b, right? Again the same task. Since we are inserting only single geometric mean between a and b, and we are going to insert just one arithmetic mean between a and b. If you let it x, all these three together will form a geometric progression. And then if you apply the conditions of the geometric progression, then you will get that x is equals to square root of ab, right, as we discussed in the previous class. And now if you are going to insert only single harmonic mean between a and b. Since we are inserting single harmonic mean, again we have the numbers like a and b, and we don't have that arithmetic mean. So this is A, this is B, and we need to insert one harmonic mean between them. All together will form an harmonic progression. Since A, X and B are forming an harmonic progression, as we discussed, this middle term X is nothing but 2AB by A plus B. Just have a look at this. This X is equals to A plus B by 2 is the arithmetic mean between A and B. X is equals to root AB is the geometric mean between A and B. X is equals to 2AB by A plus B is the harmonic mean between A and B. No need to mention X also for every type. Just if anybody asks you the single arithmetic mean between A and B, you just announce it as A plus B by 2. And the single geometric mean between A and B is root AB. And the single harmonic mean between A and B is 2AB by A plus B. As I mentioned you, there are two different concepts. Arithmetic mean between A and B, arithmetic mean of A and B. Okay, for two terms, arithmetic mean of A and B is also the same thing. Okay, what I am going to tell you is this A plus B by 2 can be mentioned as single arithmetic mean between A and B or arithmetic mean of A comma B. Right? And for more terms, for example, not for two terms, if you have 3 numbers, 4 numbers, then the discussion is somewhat different. I will mention it also for you, right? But it is enough for us. Okay. See, single arithmetic mean between A and B is just arithmetic mean of A comma B. And single geometric mean between A and B is nothing but geometric mean of A comma B. And single harmonic mean between A and B is nothing but harmonic mean of A comma B. Right? Once again I am repeating you. Arithmetic mean, single arithmetic mean between A and B or the arithmetic mean of A comma B. Both are same and that is A plus B by 2. No need to utilize X. To find that arithmetic mean as a procedure, we are taking that unknown arithmetic mean as X and at the end we found that arithmetic mean as A plus B by 2. Right? But see, to conclude and to utilize in different problems, no need to take X every time. It is enough if you mention that arithmetic mean of A comma B is A plus B by 2, geometric mean of A comma B as root AB and harmonic mean of A comma B as 2AB by A plus B. So this is another one important concept aspect which we frequently utilize in different cases, right? And now I am going to discuss about this arithmetic mean, harmonic mean and geometric mean of A comma B, right? So completely I will concentrate on the single and then one arithmetic mean between AB, geometric mean between AB and harmonic mean between AB. You just memorize this and then you need to keep in mind that A plus B by 2, root AB and 2AB by A plus B. Is it right? I am going to arrange this. Yeah. And the next task is, first suppose you will face different problems related to the arithmetic mean of A comma B, geometric mean of A comma B and harmonic mean of A comma B. I have a problem, right? See, most probably many of you are, in many cases you will face this problem, right? A power n plus 1 plus B power n plus 1 divided by A power n plus B power n. Have a look at this. A power n plus 1 plus B power n plus 1 by A power n plus B power n. Right? So I am rewriting this with somewhat raising the font size. A power n plus 1 plus B power n plus 1 divided by A power n plus B power n. Okay? This is one particular number involved with AB. Right? See, whenever it becomes arithmetic mean of A comma B, whenever it becomes geometric mean of A comma B, whenever it becomes harmonic mean of A comma B. See, you need to find out the values of n. Okay, it becomes the arithmetic mean of A comma B if n is equals to, what is your answer? For what values of n it becomes your geometric mean, and for what values of n it becomes your harmonic mean. That's what we need to discuss. As a part of discussion, it involves with the a little bit tactic factorization to find the value of n. First, suppose if it is the arithmetic mean, you need to equalize it for the A plus B by 2, right? See, it becomes the arithmetic mean whenever if it is equals to a plus b by 2. It becomes geometric mean when if it becomes root ab. It becomes harmonic mean when if it equals to a 2ab by a plus b. In all the three cases, our task is finding the value of n. Just for your sake, I am going to discuss the first case, and in the remaining two cases directly I will give you the values of n, and if you add it out, just counter check it. And for first case, if this is the arithmetic meaning, then a power n plus 1 plus b power n plus 1 by a power n plus b power n is given as a plus b by 2. Have a look at this, right? See, for space concern, I may erase again, okay? Have a look at this. See, do cross multiplication. If you do this, you need to multiply this numerator with this 2 and these two together. Then you have the 2 times of a power n plus 1 plus b power n plus 1 is equals to a power n plus b power n into a plus b. I think everything is clear, right? And now in the left side, what I have? 2 times of a power n plus 1, 2 times of b power n plus 1 is equals to, this side you need to multiply a power n with a power n with b, and again b power n with a, b power n with b. If you multiply like that, a power n plus 1 plus a power n into b is b a power n plus b power n into a is a b power n plus b power n into b is b power n plus 1. Right? See, we need to rearrange it, regroup it, factorize it to get the value of n. Right? That's what our task right now. Right? See, send everything aside. Look at this. It needs your attention, your intention to solve the problem for n. If you look at this, left side you have the 2 times of a power n plus 1, and right side you have 1 a power n plus 1. And here the left side 2 b power n plus 1s, and here 1 b power n plus 1. You just send this a power n plus 1, b power n plus 1 this side. It becomes like 2 times, and if you subtract 1 time, it becomes like a power n plus 1. Okay? And send these two terms also this side. Minus b into a power n minus a into b power n minus b power n plus 1 is equals to 0. It is not minus actually, because I have 2 b power n plus 1 here and 1 more b power n plus 1 there, and this 2 b power n plus 1 minus this b power n plus 1 will give us b power n plus 1. You need to factorize it. Look at this very simple task. See, if you look at first 2 terms and then next 2 terms. In this first 2 terms, a power n is the common thing. A power n, if you pick it out, this is a power n into a, so a power n into a minus b. And from these 2 terms, you just common out b power n, again you will get that a minus b is equals to 0. As a part of factorization, you will get that a power n minus b power n into a minus b is equals to 0. From there, what we need to conclude? See, for the space concern, I am going to discuss. See, look at this, no problem. See, a power n minus b power n into a minus b is 0. The product is 0. Whenever the product will become 0, if any one of those terms is 0. If this a minus b is 0, not possible because a is equals to b. We are discussing about the arithmetic mean of a comma b. So a and b are different. So a is equal to b is the wrong thing. And if you look at this a power n minus b power n, whenever this a power n minus b power n 0, a and b are not equal. Already I told you, right? If you need, mention it the first for initially also. A not equals to b. For a not equals to b, we have this total discussion. A and b are not equal, but a power n minus b power n is 0. It is possible only if the value of n is 0. Right? So, if this a power n plus 1 plus b power n plus 1 by a power n plus b power n is the arithmetic mean of a comma b, that means you need to equalize this expression with a plus b by 2 like this. At the end you found the value of n as 0. As a counter check, you just replace n with 0 here. If you replace n with 0 there, see 0 plus 1 is 1 a, 0 plus 1 is 1 b, a plus b, by a power 0 plus b power 0 is again 2 only, no? So if I gave you n, it is easy to check whether it is a plus b by 2 or not. To find it as 0, you need to go with this total factorization. We have similar type of factorization for the next 2 cases also, but no need to go with the all procedure. Just have a look at this. If it is okay, then automatically you have a chance to do these two also. I will give you the values of n for the next two. First of all, I will look at this, and if I explain again for you, you need to equalize these two. This expression is equals to a plus b by 2. Do cross multiplication, simplify, send everything aside, on factorization. Since a and b are not equal, at the end your value of n is 0. Is that right? Have a look. Take a screenshot. Have a look at this. If you go with the same procedure, see the value of n, if it is equals to geometric mean, it is minus 1 by 2. And the value of n, if it is equals to harmonic mean, it is minus 1. To find those values, we need to go with the factorization process. And if you wish to counter check, just go with the counter check. See, if n is equals to minus 1 by 2, then how it changes? See, we need to replace n with minus 1 by 2 here, right? So, a power minus 1 by 2 plus 1 plus b power minus 1 by 2 plus 1 divided by a power minus 1 by 2 plus b power minus 1 by 2. And if you look at this, 1 minus 1 by 2 is 1 by 2 again, right? 1 minus half is half. So this is equals to, okay, what you need to write? This is equals to a power 1 by 2 plus b power 1 by 2 divided by a power minus 1 by 2 plus b power minus 1 by 2. Since we are going to do counter checking, this a power 1 by 2 is root a, b power 1 by 2 is root b. This is the numerator. And if you come to the denominator, this is 1 by root a plus this is 1 by root b. And if you simplify it, automatically you will get that root a plus root b divided by root b plus root a divided by root ab. If you cancel these two, at the end you left with root ab, and that root ab is the geometric mean of a comma b. This is just a counter check, right? If you have the value of n, we have a chance to check. But without knowing the value of n, this process won't help you. We need to go with the actual factorization only, right? In the same manner, if you replace n with minus 1 in this expression, then automatically it results out to 2ab by a plus b if n is equals to minus 1. So at the end, you just memorize these values. This is a standard model actually. So if a power n plus 1 plus b power n plus 1 by a power n plus b power n is the arithmetic mean, then your value of n is 0. And if it is geometric mean, your value of n is minus 1 by 2. And if it is harmonic mean, your value of n is... The problem is about arithmetic mean and the geometric mean. See, arithmetic mean of a comma b is 2 times the geometric mean of a comma b, and they are asking us to find the value of a by b. Actually, it is, we need to show the ratio between a and b as 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. Okay, we have different ways and different procedures to prove this, and I am moving with one of such. Just have a look at this. See, what is the arithmetic mean of AB? See, the arithmetic mean of AB is a plus b by 2. Is it right? Absolutely. And what is the geometric mean of A and B? And it is given as 2 times is already given, and the geometric mean, as we know, it is root AB. Arithmetic mean is sum by 2, geometric mean is square root of AB. With this, we need to show that a by b is equals to 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. We have different chances to show, but one standard procedure I am going to give you right now. Just have a look at this. I will do a magic here actually. A plus b by 2 root ab is equals to 2. See, this a plus b by 2 is equal to 2 root ab. Just drag this root ab this side. A plus b by 2 root ab is 2. I think no problem till now. Just you square on both sides, right? For the space concern, I won't write everything, right? You need to square it. If you square it, what will become? A plus b whole square divided by denominator square is 4ab, and again this is equals to 4. Is it right? Is it right? Absolutely right. And then you just mark this equation as star. So this is the what? Star equation. And then you need to subtract with 1 from both sides. This is actually a standard procedure. Finding the values of AB or finding the ratio of A by B from arithmetic mean and geometric mean. Okay, and I am moving with that standard procedure. I have one more problem with this same procedure, which is the same procedure is helpful for one more problem also. I have it After this I will give you. Okay. Now if you look at this, a plus b whole square by 4ab is 4. Right. Now what I am going to do is, since it is a plus b whole square, I need a minus b whole square again. So I need to subtract 1 from both sides. Look at this. A plus b whole square divided by 4ab minus 1 is equals to 4 minus 1. See, this is a standard, this is a generated equation from the given problem, and you need to subtract 1 from both sides. And if you subtract 1 here, how it becomes? You need to took LCM, right? Okay. And if you took LCM, it becomes like a minus b whole square divided by 4ab is equals to 3. Okay. So, if you took LCM, the numerator part will be like this. A plus b whole square minus 4ab divided by 4ab is equals to 3 actually. But this numerator, a minus b whole square by 4ab is a minus b whole square. So that's what directly I wrote here. So a minus b whole square by 4ab is 3. Right? And now since a minus b whole square by 4ab is 3 and a plus b whole square by 4ab is 4, you just mark the second equation as double star. I have star and I have double star. You just divide star with double star. Okay? You just divide equation star with the second equation double star. Then in that case, dividing this left hand side with this left hand side will remove 4ab. Then you left with a plus b whole square only. A plus b whole square divided by a minus b whole square. And in the right hand side, this is 4 and that is 3. You will have that 4 by 3. Very clear, right? And now here it is square and this is 4 by 3. I may rewrite this 4 by 3 as 2 by root 3 whole square. Okay? Is it okay? 4 is 2 square, root 3 square is 3, right? Right. And now this is square, this is square, this is square, remove that square, then you have that a plus b by a minus b is equals to 2 by root 3. So now what I have? A plus b by a minus b is equals to 2 by root 3. And from there, you need to get the value of a by b. Is it right? Okay. Just have a look at this till now and then I will give you few related steps. Okay. Yeah. Look at this. Arithmetic mean a plus b by 2 is given 2 times the geometric mean 2 times of root ab. And it is very clear that if you sum this root ab, you remind with this 2 in the right hand side. So if you square it, a plus b whole square by 4ab is 4. This is equation star. And then if you subtract 1 from both sides. If you subtract 1, the left side will become like a minus b whole square by 4ab, whereas the right side is still like 3. And now if you divide the first equation with the second equation, you get that a plus b whole square by a minus b whole square as 4 by 3. And I rewrite it as 2 by root 3 whole square. If you remove the square, you have that a plus b by a minus b is equals to 2 by root 3. From there, you need to get the value of a by b. Still, we have different procedures, right? See, one thing is do cross multiplication and you will get a by b. And the other thing is you need to utilize componendo and dividend rule. If you are aware of that, I will utilize that componendo and dividend rule. What is the componendo and dividend rule is, if you have two fractions, fraction 1 and fraction 2, then the componendo and dividend rule tells us that add numerator plus denominator left side, numerator and denominator right side. Again subtract numerator and denominator and subtract numerator and denominator in that side also. I will give you that componendo and dividend rule once and then I further simplify it. Okay, just have a look at this. Yeah, for the space concern I am erasing it. This is equals to 2 by root 3 whole square actually. Okay, this is 3. Okay, for the space concern I erased. See, if you look at this, I have two fractions. Numerator 1 by denominator 1 is equals to numerator 2 by denominator 2. Then this componendo and dividend rule is nothing but numerator 1 plus denominator 1 by numerator 1 minus denominator 1 is equals to numerator 2 plus denominator 2 by numerator 2 minus denominator 2. This is completely mentioned as componendo and dividendo rule. I think at least some of you are aware of it, right? See, again I am explaining for you. There are two fractions and the fractions are equal. See, left side you have numerator and denominator, right side also have numerator and denominator. Left side add both the terms numerator, subtract denominator. Right side, add both the terms in numerator and subtract denominator. Again, these two also become equal. That is the componendo and dividendo rule, right? So if you utilize this rule, componendo and dividendo, it directly proves our problem, okay, with this. Or otherwise, if you don't know about it, just leave it, no problem. Just from here onwards, go with the cross multiplication. And after cross multiplication, collect A's in one side and B's in the other side. Then find that A by B. Automatically, you will get the ratio A by B. You have two chances to utilize right now. Okay. So, either utilize componendo and dividendo or go with the cross multiplication. Right. I think you know the way to do cross multiplication. That's why I am mentioning here the way to move with the componendo and dividendo rule. Right. Now, what we have to do? We need to add numerator and denominator in the left side. Right. So, A plus B plus A minus B divided by A plus B minus A minus B, and this side 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. Add these two in numerator, subtract these two in denominator. How you proceed it? By componendo and dividendo rule. Okay, on this side B and D will get cancelled, 2A. This side A will get cancelled, 2B is equals to 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. 2 and 2 get cancelled again. And this is the statement what we need to prove, right? And this is one good problem related to the arithmetic mean and geometric mean. As they given the ratio between arithmetic mean and geometric mean, and they ask us to prove A by B is equals to 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. So just go through this problem, have a screenshot. Look at the board. Without using componendo and dividendo rule, I mentioned you, cross multiplication also helps us to find the ratio A by B, right? So I am moving with the cross multiplication now, right? This is one way after this step. In the other way, after this step, if you do cross multiplication, root 3A plus root 3B is equals to 2A minus 2B. We need A by B. So collect A's one side and B's one side. For that collection, send this root 3A that side, minus 2B this side. And this side just you common out B. B times 2 plus root 3. And that side common out A. A times 2 minus root 3. Again, if you rearrange, you will get that A by B is equals to 2 plus root 3 by 2 minus root 3. Right? As I told you, this is one of the standard procedure related to the arithmetic mean and the geometric mean. The problem is mentioning about the arithmetic mean as some number into geometric mean. That intent representing it is given. See, if you rearrange the problem, if you drag it this side, arithmetic mean by geometric mean is equals to 2 is given, and they are asking us to find A by B. Is it clear? So that means if arithmetic mean by geometric mean the ratio is given, then we have a chance to find directly the ratio between the numbers A and B. Right? Just have a look at this. With the same concept, you have a chance to find different problems again. I will give you one thing, you just do in your own way. First, suppose if arithmetic mean by geometric mean value is some k, right? What I am going to give you is, first suppose another question. If arithmetic mean of A comma B divided by geometric mean of A comma B is equals to some k, then what you say about A by B, right? Just try your own way, try to mention this ratio in terms of k. Okay, just have a look at this. And that's for today's session. You just try to find the ratio A by B in terms of k. If arithmetic mean of AB and geometric mean of AB, the ratio is given as k. Okay, I hope you did it, right? I am concluding the session.